I've paid thousands of dollars in courses to learn what you're basically teaching on your podcast for free. What you're putting out there is so valuable. So, I just really want to acknowledge you, and I definitely send everyone to your podcast.
You were virtually one of the first mentors that I looked up to and started following. You're always one step ahead of the game. So I just wanted to give you kudos and props for that, because lots of people are watching, lots of people are learning from it.
Tucker and the whole TTM crew, Dan and Chris, thanks so much for your support. I love what you guys do, and a huge, huge fan. Having this support's huge. So I'm grateful for that.
What's up, everybody out there in listener land? This is episode 333 of the Real Dealz podcast, and as always, I am your host, Tucker Merrihill. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another show. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed last week's show with my man Jimmy 2. We actually released it this week. We got another one this week that we're releasing, so we kind of doubled up, even though I really did last week's show last week because it was a live on Facebook show. But this week, I've got a show that it's going to be kind of our formal announcement, let's say, of a new company that I have started with Elliot and Cole that's called Call Magic Leads. And basically, it's a cold call company. It's one that we have a floor of callers in the Philippines. We've got a lease space. We've got a call manager. We got all these things in place. And we're really going to try and make this the absolute best cold calling company out there, not only in our space, but ultimately in other spaces as well. But we want to be able to serve you guys as real estate investors to the best of our abilities, and really just be the best option out there when it comes to a cold call service, not only price-wise, but service-wise as well, and then quality of callers, quality of leads, and kind of be a one-stop shop as well. And so we kind of go through all the different things that we can do, but not only can we call, we can also skip trace, we can pull leads for you, we can kind of do all of it and give you advice on exactly what kind of list you should be calling, how much data you need, and all that stuff. So this week's show is a video that myself and Elliot did, kind of breaking down all the things that you really need to know if you're interested in cold calling, because a lot of people just don't know where to start. I know that when I first started dipping my toe in the world of cold calling, I just didn't know how much data I needed, how many callers I needed, how many leads I should expect based on the number of callers, based on my area, what types of lists I should be calling. I didn't know any of those things. And so we had about a 10-minute conversation where we kind of address all of those things. And I thought it would be good to strip the audio out of that and play it for you guys on this week's show. And then if you're interested at all in getting going on some cold calling campaigns, or just finding out some more information about whether or not you think it would be a good choice for you to execute some cold calling in your market or wherever you market, you can go to callmagicleads.com. It's callmagicleads.com, and just fill out the information there. It's a squeeze page, and once you do, Elliot will be in touch with you, and you can hop on the phone or a Zoom call and kind of go through your situation and see if we can help you out. So anyway, the website is callmagicleads.com, and we'll talk all about it here in the main topics section of this week's show. Now, before we get into all of that, what's going on with me and TTM? Well, a lot of stuff, I guess. We are officially booked up for our next round of the REI Deal Generator program, so I do want to thank all of you guys that book calls. I talked to a ton of you guys, and those of you guys that are making the decision to invest in the program moving forward. We're super excited to build your marketing machines for you. That marketing is going to consist of all kinds of things, from direct mail, text message, to RVMs, to emails, to cold calling, in a very organized fashion, so that you can dominate your local market. So we're excited to be kicking off a bunch of new people in that program here this next week. So we appreciate you guys taking the time, effort, and investment in the program with myself and Justin. Beyond that, we got a lot going on here, it seems like. We moved offices. I mentioned that. We kind of dialed down the areas that we're marketing, but we really filled in all the gaps with the data, and it's been working out really well. We've got a new project that I'm going to be walking out to here to kind of finalize what it is we're going to do to it here shortly, but our lead flow has been fantastic, much better. I think the Corona freeze has stopped. I know the market is crazy on a retail level. Things are flying off the shelf. New price highs are getting set everywhere, and so it's been difficult for a lot of people to find inventory because the market has kind of come back so strong, post the original Corona outbreak. But I tell you what, marketing's working. We're having a lot of conversations. We're looking at a lot of houses. We're buying a lot of houses. And one of the biggest things that happened this week is that we're about to pick up our building permit for, about a $3 million spec build that we've had in the pipeline forever. And we actually had a very nice gentleman and his family fly up yesterday, it was, on his private jet. which I guess should tell you something. And he offered to buy the property for the price that we were hoping to sell it for without actually having done anything construction-wise to build it yet, which is it's a big compliment for us, because we have somebody that's willing to basically say they'll pay almost $3 million for a house that isn't built yet, right? Which says that they trust that we can bring an amazing product to the marketplace. And so we're excited. We've got a high dollar project, which generally is looked at as very speculative, maybe a lot of risk. We talked to a lot of lenders about it over the years, and they were all a little bit, I don't know, $3 million in Portland. And I kept telling them, like, it's waterfront real estate. You don't get a better view. It's an amazing lot. So it was kind of nice to, I guess, have this come to fruition. And I can kind of say I told you so to a lot of those people that worry about it. But the point I want to make here is that, high dollar real estate sells no matter what the market is. You just really have to know what kind of lot you should be buying to do those high end type projects, because not every lot works for it. Even if you're in a higher end area, not every lot works for it. So it's a little bit of an art to be able to pick those, and it really just takes time in the chair, just a lot of experience. So anyway, we're excited. Maybe this guy will be a big private money lender for us too, right? Because he's a well-to-do character, let's put it that way. Flew up here on his own private jet. Very nice family though, and we're excited to build a house for him. So hopefully that comes to fruition. It looks like it will. I'll keep you guys posted, of course. But beyond that, we've got a renovation coming up here. We should be wrapped up with very quickly. It's going to hit the market. It'll be a nice kind of new construction alternative. We'll see how that does price-wise. I think it'll probably exceed our expectations, but most stuff on the retail market's exceeding expectations these days. And we've got another multi-million-dollar build that we've got permits in, and so we're going to get those plans back here hopefully soon. I tell you what, getting plan packages through for new construction with cities right now, it's just a giant pain in the you-know-what, mainly because, there's just a lot of these people are not working from the office. They're working remotely, and the cities are difficult anyway. So you put that all together, and you get slow turn times. That's pretty much what you get. So other than that, things are humming along. Things are good. And like I said, we've got a great show this week, giving you guys a little bit of additional information all about Call Magic and what we can do to kind of supercharge your lead flow in your business. So without further ado, let's get into the rest of the show. And again, if we missed a couple of questions that maybe you guys think you might have after listening to this, just feel free to reach out to me. You can always reach out to Elliot as well, or you can go to callmagicleads.com, fill out the kind of squeeze page there, and one of us will hop on the phone with you, and we can kind of fill in the gaps and answer any other questions you have. So without further ado, let's get into the rest of the show. All right, Real Dealz podcast listeners, I want to talk quickly about our show's sponsor, Iron Bridge Lending. If you guys have not reached out to Iron Bridge already to talk to them about funding some of your upcoming flip projects, I highly encourage you to do so. I've known the owner of Iron Bridge for a very long time. I've personally borrowed millions of dollars from them over the years to do a number of different projects, and I can say without a doubt, they are the best hard money lending company I have ever come across, and that is the reason why they are the sole sponsor of this show. I've had a lot of other companies reach out to me and want to sponsor this show, but I just won't do it. I feel like I need to be genuine in who we have sponsoring the show, and it needs to be somebody that I've personally done a ton of business with. So I personally vouch for their ability to be the best, hands down, in the world of hard money lending. You won't find better programs, you won't find better terms, and they're lending or will be lending in over 20 states. So chances are, if you're hearing this in whatever state you're in, it's definitely worth it to check out their website, reach out to them, see if they're lending in your state, and if they are, I would absolutely encourage you to do business with them. Another very cool thing to note is that they have a program for most rehabs where you can actually borrow up to 90% of the purchase price. Now, this is given the fact that you are actually buying a deal, which if you're listening to the show, that means you probably are. But if you have an actual deal on the table, they'll fund up to 90% of your purchase price, and they'll even give you rehab funds on top of that, which means that it only takes 10% down to get into a project, which is unbelievable in the hard money world. So do yourself a favor, reach out to Iron Bridge Lending, have a conversation with them, see if they're a good fit for you and for your next project. I can guarantee you that you'll be happy that you did. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for checking out this video here on the Call Magic Facebook page. Myself and Elliot wanted to shoot a quick video here to give you guys some additional information about the cold calling service that we have to offer. There's a lot of questions that people have about cold calling in general, and so we figured instead of getting on the phone with each and every one of you, if we shot a video like this, hopefully it answers a lot of your front-end questions, and then by the time you actually talk to Elliot, you'll know kind of what's a good fit for you. So welcome, Elliot. Let's chat cold calling, huh?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So the first question that people normally have is, how many callers do I need? What are my options with the callers? So what do you say to people that have those questions?
Yeah, that question's really answered by what kind of lead flow you're looking to get. If you're just starting out and you're trying to throw a wide net and get a little bit lower cost per lead marketing, you probably want to start with a part-time caller. And what you're expecting with that is you probably need about 15,000 leads in your area, in your farm area that you're going for. We're going for more of a wide net here. So you're going to be pulling absentee owners. You're going to be pulling some equity ownerships, maybe some driving for dollars if you have it. But if you had about 15,000, we can get consistently good lead flow with you. Roughly that's 20 hours a week, and you should be getting anywhere from 15 to 20 leads a week, depending on the area that you're in.
So then that's kind of, let's call it the solopreneur type business, maybe somebody that wants to try us out, see what the lead flow is like. 20 leads a week, you're going to get probably a few that are retail, a few that are just kind of interested, and then you might get some wholesale stuff in there. But what really we would suggest is probably a full-time caller, because that's going to bump you up to that approximately 40 leads a week, which now you're talking enough leads to really kind of move the needle in your business. Now with that, how much data is somebody going to need in order to be able to have enough for a full-time caller to call through each, whatever cycle?
Yeah, so a full-time caller, you're going to want at least a minimum of 30,000 records or leads that we're calling. And so we are calling those people multiple times. We're calling, when you pull skip trace data through us, you're actually getting 3 to 5 numbers per person. So if you have minimum 30,000, that should get us through about a month of calling for you before we have to reload that list and work that list. We prefer that you have more in the 40 to 45,000 range, but 30 is about your minimum that you can go for.
And one of the things that we like to do for people is, we know it's a pain in the ass to kind of get lists, skip trace lists, get it over to your, cold call company. So we're trying to be a one-stop shop for all of you guys. So not only can we pull some lists for you, but we'll also skip trace all the lists that you have. So if you have a bunch of lists that, you're mailing to right now, or specialty lists that you want us to call through as well, we'll actually skip trace those for you. But let's say you want to do a full-time caller, which you should, and maybe you've got 15,000 records that you want to call from. Maybe they're already skip traced, maybe they're not. What we can then do is kind of backfill your data so that we get you up to that 30,000 records mark. And so one of the ways that we do that is we'll pull a free absentee list for anybody that wants to sign up for our services. And then we basically just pull it for you at our cost. And then we plug that in as some of the numbers that the callers call. But the reality is that, it's hard to get a huge amount of data that are all specialty lists. So some of these lists are going to have to be more generic kind of filtered lists. And the reality is Cole, one of our other partners, he still gets a ton of deals off of his absentee list to this day with the cold calling. So it's not like it's a bad list, but you do need a lot of records. And so maybe, you could utilize that. Or another option is maybe you have a bunch of driving for dollars lists. I mean, we've got about 30,000 records total in driving for dollars that we could utilize, but not everybody has that. So maybe you've got 5,000 in driving for dollars list. Maybe you got another 2,000 in tax delinquent. Maybe you got 1,000 in water shutoff. Maybe you got some high equity owner occupied stuff, and then you throw on the free absentee list that we can pull for you as well. And that gets you up to that kind of 30,000 threshold. And the other thing too, is you can kind of push the area. So with cold calling, you're probably going to have to call a slightly bigger geographical area than maybe what you're used to marketing to with direct mail, but it's way more cost effective so that you could do that. So that's a big thing. What are the pricing that people should keep in mind, not only for the calling, but then also for the skip tracing, Elliot?
Yeah, so like we were talking about is since we're pulling so many records already, we have a system, like if you need to fill in your data, we can get free absentee lists for you. It's not going to be a narrowed down full scale owner equity, all this stuff. It's going to be a basic absentee list, but that can help fill in some gaps. So if you're calling, but we want you to skip them with us. So if you're doing 20,000 and under records, your skips are going to cost you right around 15 cents a skip. And then anything over 20,000, we're at 12 cents a skip. So you kind of get economies of scale the more you go. If you're using a part-time caller, we're asking for a 3-month contract. That's just because we're onboarding our callers. We want to make sure that we have a longevity there with our team. So part-time callers, 20 hours a week, we're $1,200 a month for that. Then that includes everything. That includes dialers, callers, all that stuff. Then we would also, charge you for the skip trace for the lists. Then if you're going to do a full-time caller, we're at $1,800 a month, so you get a little bit, you get more calling for a less overall price for the scale you're doing. And then if you're doing a big hitter, you want to go after big areas. So and you want multi full-time callers, we drop it down to $1,650 for multi full-time callers going forward.
Yeah, so we basically take care of you guys. The more that you're going to call, the more that you're going to skip. Your prices are going to get better. But the reality is that you can kind of grow into it too. If you want to try us for a part-time caller and then you grow into a full-time and then you grow into multiple callers, that's a natural progression as well. But hopefully you guys have an idea now of, approximately how much data you need, approximately how much of a financial commitment it is to get into having us cold call for you, and then kind of the different tiers and different options that you have. So I think we hit everything for the most part, unless you've got something that you think we should add in here, Elliot.
Yeah, what I tell people is if you can build a strong realtor relationship, because a lot of these leads that are coming in, they're going to be retail leads that people still want to sell their house, but it's a retail type lead that needs to go to the open market. So you can actually pay for our service basically. If you can have a strong agent with you that you can shuffle off retail listing leads to them. And if they can close them and get a referral fee, basically pays for our service. So, and then you can just work the wholesale stuff that you're going after. And basically you're using our service for free at that point. As long as you got closers.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Because the reality is a lot of your cold call conversations are going to be retail. So, if you have a place to dump those retail leads after you've talked to them and kind of filtered them down a little bit more, we would highly encourage that, because as Elliot said, it's a great way to basically just pay for your marketing services and referral fees. And
I can do a video if people have any questions on that, on the best way to actually transition that lead from yourself to an agent, because there's better ways to do it and push those off. So we can dive into that a later date.
Yeah. And the reality is, folks, it's, he who has them or she who has the most conversations in this business wins. And that's what cold calling is just expediting and increasing the number of lead conversations that you have on any given day or week. And so anyway, we're here to help you guys with that. Either part-time caller or full-time caller. We can skip trace for you. We can help you pull lists. But just remember that, you're going to want a combination of about 30,000 records for one full-time caller. And so that can be a combination of specialty lists, filtered lists, and then additional lists that we can pull for you to kind of fill the gaps if needed. So hopefully that answers all your guys' questions. But as always, you're welcome to reach out to us if you have any others. And hopefully we'll get some callers going for you soon.